Democratic candidate for Senate Graham Platner now has the support of 2 U.S. senators in his race to represent the state of Maine. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has supported Platner for months, and now Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego is also joining him.
Polls currently show Platner as the favorite to win the Democratic nomination over Governor Janet Mills. And from there, he'll look to take the Senate seat from Republican Susan Collins in November. In his endorsement of Platner, Gallego wrote, quote, Graham Platner is the kind of fighter Maine hasn't seen in a long time. Someone who tells you exactly what he thinks, doesn't owe anything to the special interests, and wakes up every day thinking about working families. He's a Marine, and he reflects the grit and independence that defines Maine, and that's exactly why I'm proud to endorse him. Gallego and Platner are both Marine combat veterans who fought in the Iraq War, but Gallego has held office for more than 15 years, while Platner is a political newcomer. Platner came back under fire in October when it was alleged by some that a tattoo on his chest closely resembled a Nazi symbol. He responded by saying he was unaware of the image's connection to Nazis, and he covered up the tattoo with a different design.
Meanwhile, Platner went viral over the weekend, as he engaged in a back-and-forth feud with Texas Senator Ted Cruz. It started when Senator Susan Collins said she was praying for the service members involved in the U.S. attack on Iran. Platner ripped into Collins' post, writing, I can assure you, your prayers didn't save my friends from dying in the last war you supported. Ted Cruz responded to Platner, writing, were your friends Germans wearing Nazi tattoos like you? Platner fired back, no, Ted, my friends died and will always be United States Marines, you despicable expletive. I wonder which expletive he used. Finally, Ted Cruz responded again, you're a communist by your own admission with a Nazi tattoo on your chest. Tragically, you embody the very best in today's Democratic Party. There was also, I've said my piece about the Nazi tattoo a couple times. Like, I would accept that he didn't know that that's what it was when he got it. He was in Germany, and
but there were reports that he had
it for
dialogue
a long time,
about it. He had it that
and
long.
I can't believe he wouldn't have known it. He probably should have covered up before that. I don't like to do gotcha stuff on, because they're always saying like, oh, you did the OK sign is a Nazi gesture. Now nobody thinks that that's the case.
No, but if you're getting into politics, you know the name of this game. People, it's like recreational. Pull skeletons out of the closet. So don't have skeletons.
He's a newcomer.
Try to minimize.
Right, but I'm trying to. Well, that said, he did also. Oh, we didn't note it here, but over the weekend or in the last couple of days, he retweeted or quote tweeted a prominent Stu Peters. Yes, who's Can I describe it? He's Nazi-ish, I think. He's pretty anti-Semitic, I believe. Not someone, if you're trying to beat the allegations that you're
right.
might be some kind of secret Nazi, you would not be quote tweeting this guy. And I saw, Ryan Grimm of Drop Site News and Breaking Points, and used to do some stuff with us, saying that you have to vouch for every person you quote tweet that they've never said anything wrong. And I mean, I get that to some extent, but frankly, I do usually click through before I quote tweet someone just to make sure it's not like obvious that there's something, not obviously I wouldn't catch if they look legit but happen to have said something awful
5 years ago.
I wouldn't know, but this guy you would know pretty quickly if you click through that he's not someone to be quote tweeting. So I don't know. Well, now, Graham Platner is certainly a more exciting candidate than the other Janet Mills, because she's very old.
Well, that's the problem. And as much as I am on your side usually with bringing some young blood into this thing, Maine is not know your audience. Maine elected Susan Collins because they want a moderate person that really knows how to work between both parties. They like the esteem of it all, somebody who's been in a position for a long time. Maine is largely reliably Democratic in all other races, and in this case, they have a Republican senator.
Susan's
and so you don't go from that to dramatically somebody who has a big scandal that people have a problem with, and is also, the person that Bernie Sanders supports. And I really like Bernie Sanders, but that's not where you go from 1 to 2. So I just think, usually I haven't been agreeing with Chuck Schumer lately, but his position is that Janet Mills is the more moderate candidate. She's somebody that the people who voted for Susan Collins will support. And so it's just,
I mean, she's the more moderate candidate, but she's also the more boring candidate.
yes,
and
that's what they
maybe-
want. Boring. That's what they want. Boring, moderate, somebody who's going to work across parties, but really stick to their morals. They don't want somebody who's going to be. I mean, I know the argument with Bernie Sanders is that we want populism, right? We want somebody who's going to be a fighter. But just because that worked in New York, let's say with Imam Dani, it doesn't mean it works for the federal election. And that's kind of why the Democrats are having this tear within the party right now,
Yeah.
because they're trying to take what works for states and make it work federally, and no one knows that actually is going to stick.
I don't know. Obviously, in the Texas primary case, which is about to be decided,
I know.
I on that one, I thought Tallarico, the more moderate candidate, makes more sense than Crockett. But it's a case-by-case thing, and here I'm frankly just not convinced that Janet Mills is a more electable candidate than Graham Platner. I don't know. Obviously, I'm rooting for Susan Collins either way, so I don't really. She's great and she's wonderful, but I don't know.
You have nice things to say about
I think
her.
Graham Platner's more likely to win the race. Honestly, if I were Democrats, I would be waking up to that fact. He's certainly more exciting again to the base, who's going to be deciding that, unless they're very, very discerning and like, no, he's just too out there, and I'm not comfortable about his tattoo and his Stu Peters quote tweeting, and people probably don't care about that enough.
I think people should. I mean, it's about your discernment, your decision-making skills. The fact that you let all these years pass and don't have any self-awareness enough to make a decision like covering that tattoo up before you get into
I
politics.
mean, he's a Marine. He served his country.
Right. I'm not saying he has nothing going for
I
him.
don't know what he said. Why he's attacking Susan Collins for saying she's praying for our service members. What's wrong with that?
I don't find anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I'm also not over here cheering for Graham Platner. So
Yeah, well, right. You're not.
But I also want to let everybody know, which our boss Kathleen asked us to do, is to tell people they can watch us tonight, streaming from about 7:30 to 10:30. They can watch us talking about these elections, these primary elections.
Us as in you and I.
Yeah, you'll be on. I'll be on. I know Blake Berman.
I'll be on tonight.
Stop, Robbie. Yes, you are. We're going to be on the Hill.
First time hearing of
Go
it.
on the YouTube. Tune in starting around 7:30.
Oh, boy.
We'll tell you guys as the results come in, and make sure that you're tuned in, because Robbie and I will have a lot to say. We might be in agreement for once. That would be nice.
To
If you
talk
could just
about,
agree with everything I say.
Crockett and Tallarico out.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll see if this is Jasmine Crockett's big day.
I think it is going to be her big day.
It might be.
I think she's taking that magic carpet ride.
As Princess Jasmine should, like you call her.
Magic carpet ride, maybe to the Senate.
So tune in with us. We're going to have a lot more to talk about on Rising. Stay with us.